Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Hazel Tisoy and today I am going to tackle about China, which is also called as the Red Dragon of the East, wherein at the end of the lesson, the students are expected to describe the key cultural, historical, and literary contribution of China. The second one is to appreciate Chinese literature as an important part of wider Afro-Asian literary tradition, and lastly, to produce a creative output such as a poster, short poems, skit, and etc. inspired by Chinese culture or literature. So now, let's start by answering this question. Why China is called as the Red Dragon of the East? So we all know that China is often referred as the Red Dragon of the East. It is because the phrase combines powerful cultural symbols, political identity, and geographical description. So meaning, it reflects how China sees itself and how the world recognizes its influence. So in Chinese tradition, the dragon is one of the most important mythological creatures. Unlike the Western dragon that is usually feared, the Chinese dragon represents strength, wisdom, prosperity, and good fortune. And throughout the history, it symbolizes power and dignity. And because of this long-standing cultural significance, the dragon became a common emblem for China, showing that the country has a rich heritage and strong identity. So now let's know the connection of the red color in the Chinese culture. So according to this, the color red holds a special meaning in Chinese culture. It represents happiness, luck, celebration, and success. It is also associated with power and protection from evil. And at the same time, red has a political meaning. It is the color linked to communism, which has been Chinese political system since 1949. Therefore, the red color reflects both Chinese cultural beliefs and its contemporary political identity. And of course, it is something to do about the with the emperor and imperial symbol, because during the ancient times, the dragon was closely associated with the emperor. It symbolizes their supreme authority and divine right to rule. The imperial robes, thrones, and palaces often featured dragon designs to show the emperor's unmatched powers. And because of this deep connection, the dragon came to represent not just the culture of the China, but also their long history of centralized leadership and strong governance. And lastly, the praise of the East is indicated to highlight China's geographical position in Asia. It reminds listener that China is a major and influential country in the Eastern world, and this helps to complete the image of China as a powerful Eastern nation rising prominently in culture, politics, and global affairs. So in this slide, we can see the China's map and its capital, which is the Beijing. So now, let's proceed on China's national flag, which is commonly known as the five-star bell flag that carries a deep historical and political meaning. And every element of its design symbolizes an important part of Chinese identity, culture, and identity. The flag was officially adopted on October 1, 1949, the same day that People's Republic of China was founded. This date marks a major turning point in Chinese history as the Communist Party, which is led by Mao Zedong, who established a new government after years of revolution and conflict. The flag's adoption symbolizes the beginning of a new era for the Chinese nation. And as you can see, the dominant color of the flag is red, and it represents the communist revolution. It symbolizes the struggle, sacrifices, and unity of the people who fought for the establishment of the People's Republic of China. Red is a powerful reminder that the China has a revolutionary spirit that shaped the nation's modern identity. And beyond its political meaning, red is also traditional and culturally significant color in China, as I said earlier, because it stands for good fortune, happiness, and prosperity, and it is commonly used in festivals, weddings, and celebrations. And because of this dual meaning, which is cultural and political, um, red makes a perfect symbol for the Chinese flag because it represents both nation's heritage and its revolutionary roots. As you can see, the flag features 5 gold stars on the upper left corner. The largest stars represents the Communist Party of China, showing its leadership and authority over the nation. The gold color symbolizes light, unity, and brightness, reflecting the guiding rule of the party. And the smaller stars represent the 4 social classes identified during the revolution, and those are the working class, the peasantry, the urban petite bourgeoisie, and the national bourgeoisie. And these stars are arranged in a pattern that points toward the largest star, showing that these groups unite under the leadership of the Communist Party, and their placement emphasizes cooperation, unity, and shared purpose in building the nation. Let's proceed on the next slide. So one of the most famous landmarks of China is the Great Wall of China, and it is often referred as the 10,000 Li Wall. It is one of the most iconic and recognizable structures in the world, symbolizing China's long history, strength, and determination. So the Great Wall was built over many centuries by different dynasties, mainly to protect the Chinese Empire from foreign invasions. It stretches across mountains, deserts, and plains, showing the incredible skill and effort of Chinese ancient builders. When people call it 10,000 Li Wall, they are using a Chinese expression that means a very long wall. And the word Li is a traditional Chinese unit of distance, and the 10,000 Li symbolizes its immense length, not just a literal measurement. Today, the Great Wall stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site that attracts millions of people or visitors each year, and it reminds the world of China's rich culture, advanced Asian engineering, and the enduring spirit of its people. So now, let's proceed on the Chinese people. So Chinese people belong to one of the oldest continuous civilization in the world, with a history stretching back more than 5,000 years. And this long and rich heritage has shaped their traditions, values, and way of life, making China one of the most culturally influential nations in human history. The majority of China's population is made up of Han ethnic group, which is the largest ethnic group not only in China but in the entire world. The Han Chinese have played a major role in shaping Chinese language, culture, and historical identity. And aside from them, China is also home to 55 officially recognized ethnic minority groups. These include the Zhuang, Hui, Manchu, Uyghur, and many others. And each of the minority group has its own unique costumes, language, clothing, and tradition. But together, they contribute to China's cultural diversity and enrich the nation's social identity. So now let's talk about their language. In the early years of China's modern development, the nations faced a significant challenge. The people from different regions spoke a wide variety of dialects. And because they are different, they could not understand one another. And during the early dynastic period and later under the Republic of China, leaders recognized that a shared language was essential for building a stronger and more unified country. And because of that, the government formally began promoting a national language which is called as Guyo. This effort was more than just a linguistic reform. It was a step toward uniting a vast nation with a rich but diverse cultural background. And by encouraging people to adopt a single standard language, and the leaders hope to bridge regional differences, improve communication, and support national progress. Over time, Guyo, which we know now as Mandarin, became the common language taught in school and used in government, education, and daily communication. Its promotion helped connect a million of people and play a major role in shaping China's modern identity. And today, Mandarin stands as a symbol of unity, linking the country's ancient heritage from the past with its present and future. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide about the religion. Religion in ancient China was deeply woven into the daily lives of its people. Because it was polytheistic, so meaning the Chinese people worshipped many gods and spiritual beings. Early belief centers on ancestor worships, where families honored their departed relatives, believing that ancestors could guide and protect their living. Alongside this, people also prayed to nature gods, which is the spirits connected to the sun, moon, rivers, mountains, and the heavens, which they are seeking for the harmony with the natural world. And as centuries pass, China's religious landscape grew even richer. New philosophies and traditions emerged, and each adding their own influence, like the Confucianism. The Confucianism shaped moral values and social order. Next one is the Taoism that emphasizes balance and living in harmony with the Tao, or the way. And the Buddhism, which is introduced from India. They are offering teachings about suffering, compassion, and spiritual enlightenment. And together, their polytheistic belief formed a unique blend that guided how the Chinese understood life, nature, society, and the universe. So, meaning ancient Chinese religion was not just a system of worship. It was a foundation for culture, values, and daily practices that shapes the civilization for thousands of years. And when it comes to their educational system, education in ancient China was deeply influenced by the values of the society and the teaching of the great scholars. In earliest times, learning focused on morals, proper behavior, and the study of classical texts. Children were taught how to respect elders, behave correctly, and understand the wisdom found in ancient writings. Confucianism played a major role in shaping the entire educational system of China. And according to Confucian beliefs, learning was the key to becoming a good person and being a responsible member of their society. However, during the ancient times, only wealthy boys had an access to formal schooling. They studied Confucian classics, poetry, and writing, while the most common people, especially the girls, did not receive formal education, but they learned skills at the home. A major change came with the development of the imperial examination system, which began during the Han Dynasty. This system allowed talented men, regardless of their social class, to become government officials if they could pass a series of extremely difficult exams. This examination tested knowledge of Confucian texts, writing, ability, and moral reasoning. And for centuries, this system shaped Chinese society by rewarding merit and intelligence over birth and status. In modern times, China's education system has transformed greatly, and today, the government provides 9 years of free compulsory education, which includes primary school and junior secondary school. After that, students may continue to senior secondary school or vocational training, entrance to a universities that is determined by the Gaokao, a highly competitive national exam that plays a major role in students' fortune opportunities. And from ancient moral teaching to a modern nationwide schooling, education in China has always been seen as the path to a personal growth, social, and national progress. So now let's proceed about their literature. Chinese literature is one of the oldest and richest literary traditions in the world. Their history spans thousands of years, and it includes a wide range of forms such as poetry, philosophy, historical writings, novels, and plays, and each of them reflects the values and experiences of the Chinese people. Over time, Chinese literature was deeply influenced by the major belief system of the country. The Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism, which shaped its themes, styles, and worldview. One major characteristic of Chinese literature is its strong moral and philosophical focus. Many texts teach important lessons about virtue, respect, duty, and how people should behave within the society. So these works often guide readers toward proper conduct, wisdom, and harmony. Another important feature is the emphasis of harmony with nature. So Chinese writers frequently describe mountains, rivers, seasons, and natural scenes with great details. This description are not only beautiful but also symbolic. It shows that natural world has a deep connection between the humans. And Chinese literature um, also serves as a powerful tool for historical and cultural preservation. Many works records real events, traditions, customs, and beliefs that helps to keep Chinese long history alive for generations. So a distinctive element of Chinese writing is its rich of symbolism. Objects like dragon, phoenix, bamboo, and lotus that carry a deeper meaning such as strength, renewal, flexibility, and purity, which gives stories and poems greater depth. Chinese Classical Chinese poetry is also known for its poetic form and rhythm, following strict structures and patterns that create balance, musicality, and elegance. And lastly, Chinese literature often features a blend of fact and myth, mixing a real historical events with legends, folklore, and supernatural elements. This combination creates storicals that are both educational and imaginative. So now let's talk about Confucianism, which is also called as Ruism, that is begun with Confucius noong 551 to 479 BCE. Confucius aimed to bring back the good values of the early Zhou dynasty by teaching proper behavior, respect, and moral living. But Confucianism is not a religion, but it is a guide for living, focusing on virtue, education, good manners, and improving oneself to create a harmonious society. So there are 5 constant virtues and social values that is recorded during that time. The first one is the Ren, which is about humaneness. The number 2 is Yin, which is about righteousness. Li, which is about property and ritual. Zi, wisdom, and Xin is about the trustworthiness. And during that time, there is a person that they called a Junzi, or an exemplary person. The Junzi is the noble person that shows learning, property behavior, and good moral character. So a Junzi helps to create a better society through personal virtue and being a good example to the other people that surrounds them. And the Confucius ideas or teachings were passed down through classics like the Analects, which captures his words and values, Neo-Confucian scholar named Susi later emphasized the four books as the core text for education and government exams in the Song dynasty. After 1949, when the People's Republic of China was established, the Maoist ideology actively suppressed Confucianism, viewing it as a symbol of feudal society. The temples, rituals, and classical teachings were discouraged, and the focus shifted to the socialist and revolutionary principles. Despite this suppression, the Confucianism values continued quietly in everyday life, both in urban centers and rural communities. Respect for family, education, proper behavior, and moral conduct persisted as the part of the cultural fabric. And today, while Confucianism is no longer the official guiding philosophy of China, its principles continue to influence the Chinese society, education, and social relationship that demonstrate the enduring legacy of Confucius' teachings. So now let's proceed about the major collections in Chinese literature. So Chinese literature is preserved in several major collections, each reflecting the country's rich cultural, philosophical, and artistic heritage. Among the most important are the four books and five classics, which are the core Confucian texts. So this work teach morality, proper behavior, and principle of government, forming the foundation of education and civil service for centuries. Another key collection is the historical records, which is known as Shiji, written by Sima Qian, which is about the chronicles Chinese history from its legendary beginnings up to the Han Dynasty. So this work is not only preserves historical facts but also provides insight into the culture, politics, and the values of ancient China. The classical poetry collection also hold a prominent place, including the Book of Songs, which is called as Shijing, and the Tang poetry. These works showcase the beauty of the Chinese language and artistic expression, often reflecting human emotions, nature, and society. Philosophical works, the philosophical works such as the Tao Te Ching of the Taoism in the art and the art of the war offer guidance on wisdom, strategy, and leadership, influencing both personal life and governance. And each of them are reflecting the country's rich cultural, philosophical, and artistic heritage. Together, this collection forms a rich tapestry of Chinese thought, literature, and culture, preserving their ideas, artistry, and wisdom of the world's oldest civilization. And now, the Chinese poetry. The Chinese poetry is among the oldest continuous literary tradition in the world, with a history that spans more than 3,000 years. It reflects that the deep influence of Confucian, Taoist, and Buddhist thought, exploring themes of morality, philosophy, and the relationship between the humans and nature. In imperial China, poetry was more than just an art form. It was an essential skill for scholars. Mastery of poetry was required for the civil service examination, which determined eligibility for government positions, making it a key measure of intellect, cultural refinement, and moral understanding. The general term for Chinese poetry is shi. The poems were often written alongside the paintings in elegant calligraphy, creating works that blended visual and literary beauty. This integration of art and literature reflects the Chinese ideal of harmony, where words, images, and philosophy come together to inspire thought, emotion, and aesthetic appreciation. So there are a major types and forms of Chinese poetry that evolves over thousands of years. The first one is Shi. These are the oldest poems, many found in the Book of Songs, which is the Shijing, and often sung. Shi poems focus on themes of love, labor, politics, and rituals, reflecting the life and values of the early Chinese society. The second one is Gushi, which is also known as the old style poems. So these poems are freer in form, allowing poets to express feelings or personal feelings and creativity without strict rules. The third one is the Jiantishi, or the modern style verse, popularized during the Tang Dynasty. So these poems follow strict rules of tone and rhyme, highlighting the skills and discipline of the poet. The fourth one is Lushi. These are 8 lines poet with carefully balanced tones, creating harmony and musicality in their structure. Number 5, Joju. 4 lines poems that are concise and emotional, capturing feelings or vivid images in a short space. Next is the C, which is a lyrical style poems written to match musical patterns, which became especially popular during the Song Dynasty. Next one is the Ku or Sanku, colloquial and expressive verses often associated with Yuan drama, and these poems are lively, and meant to entertain. And the last one is Fu, or a prose poetry form, which is rich in description and imagery, common during the Han Dynasty, blending the narrative and poetic elegance. Kilalanin naman natin yung mga pioneers of modern Chinese theater. So, modern Chinese theater owes much of its development to several key figures who shape its style, themes, and techniques. The first person is Hong Xing, that is recognized as a pioneer of modern Chinese theater. He introduced new forms of drama influenced by Western theater, helping to transform traditional Chinese performing into more contemporary spoken plays. The next one is Chan Han. He made his mark as a playwright of patriotic. The next one is Chan Han, who made his mark as a playwright of patriotic dramas, and is also celebrated as the author of lyrics of China's national anthem, and his work inspired national pride and reflected social and political consciousness in the early 20th century. And the last one is Ouyang Qiuqian. He accomplished actor. Last one is Ouyang Qiuqian. Okay, the last one is Ouyang Qiuqian. He is an accomplished actor and director who played a crucial role in advancing modern stagecraft. Through his innovative production, he enhanced performance techniques, set designs, and acting methods, laying the foundation for professional modern theater in China. And together, these pioneers helped shape Huaju, or the modern spoken drama that blends traditional Chinese elements with the new ideas and establish a vibrant and influential modern theatrical tradition. So next is the notable Chinese writers and the greatest poets. So Chinese literature boasts a rich history of classical and modern writers who continue to influence culture and thought. Among classical poets, the first one is Li Bai, noong 701 to 762. It is celebrated for his romanticism, vivid imagery, and Taoist inspired themes. And he is often capturing the beauty of nature and the joys of life. The next one is Du Fu, noong 712 to 770. He is known as the poet historian that uses his poetry to reflect the social struggles and hardships of his time, creating a structured and deeply moral verse. Okay, the third one, Wang Wei. Noong 699 hanggang 759, excelled in landscape poetry, incorporating Buddhist imagery to convey tranquility and spiritual reflection. In modern literature, Chinese writers have gained international recognition, like Gao Xingjian, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2000 for works such as Mountain. Ah, in modern literature, sci- in modern literature, Chinese writers have gained international recognition, like Gao Xingjian, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2000 for works such as The Soul Mountain, which explores personal freedom and self-discovery. Mu Yan, who awarded the Nobel Prize in 2012, is known for blending magical realism with historical fiction in novels like Red Sorghum, capturing the complexities of Chinese history and society. So these writers, both classical and modern, showcase the deep and diversity and the enduring power of Chinese literature, bridging centuries of cultural philosophy. Plus one is the Analects and Proverbs. The Analects is also called as Lunyu, and it is a foundational text of Confucianism that consists of a collection of Confucius sayings compiled by his disciples during the Warring States period. These teachings emphasizes key virtues that guide moral and social conduct. Among the most important are the Ren, meaning benevolence or kindness; Li, that represent a prosperity or proper conduct; Shao, which stands for filial piety or respect for one's parents. And over the generation, the Analects has been a primary source of Confucian thought, shaping the ethical and social values of the society, of the Chinese society. Another significant features of Chinese culture is the use of proverbs or the Qingyu, typically a four-character idioms that carry profound meaning and often have historical or legendary origins. For example, this one, which is translated as "the old man lost his horse," it teaches that the apparent misfortunes may bring unexpected blessings. While the second one, when drinking water, think of its source. So it reminds people to always remember their origins and show gratitude. So together, the Analects and Chinese proverbs reflects to the wisdom, ethics, and cultural values of China, passing timeless lessons from one generation to the next. So that is the end of my topic. I hope you understand.